If you want to win at anything in life, you need to start thinking differently, starting with how you talk to yourself. Have you ever noticed how harsh your inner voice can be? How quickly it turns your hopes into doubts and your strengths into weaknesses? What if I told you that the way you treat yourself inside your own mind could be the difference between staying stuck and finally breaking through? Today, I'm going to show you how changing that inner conversation, speaking to yourself like someone you truly respect, can completely transform your confidence, your decisions, and your results. This isn't just about feeling good. It's about creating real change from the inside out. Stick with me, because what you're about to learn will shift the way you see yourself forever and give you the mindset you need to win. Are you ready to start winning? Let's get into it. Number one, train your mind to focus only on the goal. If you're tired of losing, it's because your mind isn't locked in. You're distracted. You're pulled in 5 directions. You're trying to chase everything. And as a result, you're catching nothing. And that's where the failure starts. That's where the disappointment grows. That's where most people lose. Not because they didn't have talent, not because they weren't capable, but because their mind was never trained to focus on one single goal. The truth is, winning doesn't come from wishing. It doesn't come from trying a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It comes when you finally decide once and for all that nothing else matters but the goal. It comes when your mind is set, locked in, and fully committed. That kind of thinking doesn't happen on accident. You have to build it. You have to train it. You see, when I started chasing success, I had to make some hard choices. I had to look at what I wanted and ask myself, am I willing to become the person who deserves this? Because wanting something isn't enough. Everyone wants more money. Everyone wants a better body. Everyone wants peace of mind. But very few are willing to do what it takes to win. And that's the difference. That's where the separation begins. The winners train their minds to eliminate everything that doesn't move them forward. They don't get distracted by every little thing that pops up. They don't waste hours scrolling, doubting, or complaining. They know what they want, and they focus on it like their life depends on it. Because it does. When your mind isn't trained, every little problem knocks you off track. Someone says something and you spiral. One bad day and you quit. One small failure and you call it over. But when your mind is trained, really trained, you don't bend like that. You stay locked in. You stay sharp. You stay centered. That kind of focus doesn't come from comfort. It comes from discipline. It comes from choosing the goal over the excuse over and over again. Now ask yourself, what is the one thing you want more than anything? Not 10 things, not 5, just one. What is the one goal that would change your life if you achieved it? Hold it in your mind right now. Feel it. Picture it. See what it would feel like to reach it. That feeling you're imagining, that's your fuel. That's what has to live in your mind every single day. You have to wake up thinking about it. Go to bed thinking about it. Filter your choices through it. If something doesn't serve that goal, you drop it. If something weakens your energy, you cut it out. If a habit isn't helping, it's hurting. And if someone's presence makes your focus blur, they don't belong in your circle. That's how direct it has to be. That's how serious you need to get. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect moment. If you want to win, you need to train your mind to want nothing else but that win. That means you stop feeding your brain weak thoughts. You stop telling yourself stories about why it's hard. You stop settling for distractions disguised as entertainment. You take control of what enters your mind. That means you change what you listen to. You change who you're around. You change how you speak to yourself. If your thoughts are always filled with doubts, fears, and confusion, how can you expect to win? Winning starts up here. And it starts with clarity. The mind loves clarity. It doesn't like confusion. It doesn't like mixed signals. So if you tell your mind, I kind of want this, but I'm also thinking about that, and maybe I'll try this too, then your mind will stall. It won't know where to go. But if you say, this is what I'm going after, and I don't care what it takes, I will get there. Now your brain has a target. Now it can work. You have to keep that goal in your awareness every day. Post it on your wall. Set reminders. Talk about it. Live like you already belong to that life. Train your mind to think from that level. Don't think like the person who is struggling. Think like the person who has already succeeded. That's how you create the mental standard. And when things get hard, and they will, you don't fall. You don't run back to comfort. You remind yourself of the goal. You remember why you started. You tell yourself that quitting is not on the list of options. That's how you win. One clear goal, one focused mind, one decision followed by consistent action. People will try to pull you off track. Life will throw things at you, but your response is what matters. Most people lose focus because they never built it. They never protected it. They left their mind open to anything and everything. You can't win that way. You have to protect your mind like it's your most valuable asset. Because it is. Discipline starts in your thoughts. If your thinking is soft, your actions will be weak. But if your thinking is sharp, your actions will be direct. You'll move fast. You'll move with purpose. You won't second guess yourself every step of the way. Your goals should live in your thoughts so often that nothing else has space. You train your mind to tune out what doesn't matter. You train it to reject distractions. You train it to move forward, no matter what. This is not something you do once. It's daily. It's consistent. It's the repetition that makes it real. You're not a machine. You're a person. You feel things. You get tired. You get discouraged. But that's not a reason to quit. That's a reason to get strong. That's your sign that it's time to level up your thinking. Growth isn't just physical. It starts in the mind. You can't build a powerful life with a weak mindset. You can't create success with scattered thinking. So decide. Pick one goal, one mission, one result that would change your life, and then aim every part of your mind at that. Don't stop. Don't drift. Don't settle. Your focus is your superpower. But only if you train it. Only if you protect it. Only if you fight for it. If you want to win, then think like a winner. Not once, not when it's easy, but every single day. That's how it starts. That's how it builds. That's how it lasts. Now it's your move. Number 2, challenge your beliefs that keep you feeling stuck. You're not stuck because life is unfair. You're stuck because you keep believing the same old story about who you are and what you're capable of. And if that hit a nerve, good. Because it means you're finally close to seeing the truth. You've been walking around with beliefs that were never yours to begin with. You picked them up from other people, from failures, from fear, from moments where you felt small. And now they've turned into chains that keep you exactly where you are. But if you want to win, if you're tired of feeling like you're falling behind, then you have to do the hard thing. You have to challenge every single belief that tells you you're not enough. See, the mind is powerful. It remembers everything. Every mistake, every rejection, every time someone laughed, doubted, or ignored you. And without realizing it, those memories become beliefs, quiet ones, the kind you don't even notice anymore. You stop trying because you believe it won't work. You stop asking because you believe no one will listen. You stop pushing because you believe you've hit your limit. But none of those things are real. They only feel real. Because you've repeated them in your head for so long that now they sound like facts. But they're not. They're just beliefs. And beliefs can be changed. Most people never question the thoughts that run their lives. They think the way they think is the truth. But your beliefs aren't facts. They're choices. Somewhere along the line, you accepted certain ideas as reality. Maybe you were told you weren't smart enough. Maybe you failed once and decided you weren't meant to succeed. Maybe you tried to speak up and someone shut you down. So you told yourself, I'm not good at that. That's not for me. People like me don't win. And now you carry that belief like it's law. But ask yourself, where did that thought come from? Who gave it to you? And why are you still letting it shape your life? You've got to understand, no one gets out of this life without pain. Everyone gets knocked down. Everyone feels small sometimes. But not everyone lets that turn into a belief that holds them back for the rest of their life. Some people look at that pain and say, I'm not going to let this define me. They ask the hard questions. They challenge the stories in their head. And that's what sets them free. If you want a new life, you need a new mind. You can't build success with a belief system built on fear. You can't reach your next level while dragging around the weight of old doubts. If you think you're not capable, prove it wrong. If you believe you'll never change, start changing. If you think people like you can't win, show the world that they can. That's how you start breaking those beliefs. Not by waiting for confidence, but by acting in spite of the belief until it loses its power. Sometimes people stay stuck for years because they think they're waiting for the right moment. But they're not. They're just afraid. Afraid that if they try and fail again, it'll hurt too much. Afraid that they'll find out their belief was true. So they stay in the same job, the same body, the same life. Not because they're comfortable, but because they're scared to prove themselves wrong. But here's the reality. Nothing changes until you start thinking differently. Not your money, not your relationships, not your energy. If you don't change your beliefs, your life will repeat itself in different forms, over and over again. It's not your situation. It's the way you think about your situation. It's the meaning you've given to it. And the good news is, meaning can be changed. You can decide right now that the failure from your past isn't proof you're a failure. It's proof you tried. You can decide the pain wasn't pointless. It was preparation. You can decide the struggle made you sharper, not smaller. This is where your freedom begins. When you stop asking if you're worthy and start asking if your beliefs are even true. Let me give it to you straight. The world doesn't owe you permission to grow. No one is coming to tap you on the shoulder and say, now is your time. You've got to decide that for yourself. You've got to say, I've had enough of this version of me. I know I can be more. I'm done listening to fear. I'm done living in a box I didn't choose. And then you back that up with action. You do the thing your old beliefs said you couldn't. You face the fear. You try again. You speak louder. You go for the thing that scares you, because that's how you break the belief. It's not about hype. It's about building real strength inside your thinking. When you finally stop running from the truth, you start to see where your power really is. The problem was never that you weren't capable. It's that your beliefs didn't match your potential. And that's the change you have to make. You shift the way you talk to yourself. You stop being your own enemy and start becoming your own ally. You replace the voice that says, what if I fail, with what if this works? You stop asking why me and start saying, why not me? You don't need to be perfect to make progress. You just need to stop feeding the lies in your head. You need to stop treating every fear as a reason to quit. You need to stop telling yourself that your past controls your future. It doesn't. The only thing in your way is the belief that says it's not possible. Destroy that belief and your future opens up. But be ready, people will disagree. They'll tell you to be realistic. They'll tell you not to expect too much. And that's fine. That's their belief. But you don't have to accept it. You don't have to live by it. You get to choose what's true for you. You get to decide how far you go. And once you take that power back, everything changes. Don't wait 10 more years to figure this out. Don't waste another day accepting a life that feels too small. If you want to win, then challenge the thinking that's keeping you stuck. Break the pattern. Question the voice. Rebuild the way you see yourself. Not tomorrow, not when it feels safe. Now, because the longer you wait, the deeper those beliefs grow. And the sooner you face them, the sooner you take back your freedom. Now go do the thing your old self said you couldn't. That's where the new life starts. Number 3, decide fast and act before doubt takes over. The moment you hesitate is the moment doubt begins to grow. You had the idea, the gut feeling, the push, and then you stopped. And that second of silence gave fear the space it needed to speak. That's how most people lose. Not because they didn't have the potential, not because the opportunity wasn't real, but because they didn't act fast enough when it mattered most. When the moment came, they paused, and that pause cost them. If you want to win, you must decide with speed and act before doubt has the chance to take control of your mind. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need every answer. You just need to move. Every second you spend thinking about it, analyzing it, waiting for the right time, that's time fear uses to build a stronger argument against your action. That's when your mind starts whispering all the things that could go wrong. It reminds you of the past. It exaggerates the risks. And before you know it, your energy fades. The belief you had 5 minutes ago feels like it's slipping away. That's how doubt works. It doesn't scream. It seeps in slowly while you stand still. When you train yourself to act quickly, you shut the door on hesitation. You don't let your mind spiral into confusion. You don't give fear the time to settle. Instead, you build a habit of action that sends a signal to your brain. I move, even when I'm not sure. That's how confidence is built. Not through waiting for the perfect moment, but by proving to yourself that you can handle uncertainty. And you don't need 10 steps. You only need to take one. Then the next one becomes clearer. Most people overthink themselves out of greatness. They come up with big ideas, feel a fire inside, and then talk themselves down before they even begin. They tell themselves they need more time, more research, more certainty. But in truth, what they need is courage. Courage to leap while their hands are still shaking. Courage to trust their instinct before fear makes it disappear. Every time you wait, the energy fades. But when you move quickly, the momentum builds. I've seen people turn their entire life around because they made one fast decision and followed through with bold action. They didn't let their old self talk them out of it. They didn't give space to doubt. They heard the voice of fear and moved anyway. That's how change begins. Not when everything is clear, but when you choose to move even though it's not. When you decide to lead instead of stall. When you stop trying to get rid of the fear and instead get stronger than the fear. You can spend years trying to feel ready, or you can realize that readiness comes after movement, not before. Once you take that first step, you learn, you grow, you build, you find out what you're made of. You don't need clarity to begin. You gain clarity by beginning. But if you let doubt take over, all you'll gain is regret. That's the trade. Action or regret. And you have to decide which one you're willing to live with. The reason people stay stuck isn't because they lack ideas. It's because they give doubt too much time to speak. And the more time you give it, the louder it gets. You start to see problems that aren't there. You begin to imagine every way it could go wrong. You convince yourself to stay where it's safe. But safety isn't the goal. Growth is. Progress is. And neither of those come from standing still. They come from making quick decisions with purpose and backing them up with solid action. You know what happens when you trust yourself enough to move fast? You send a message to your brain that you're in charge, that you lead, that you don't need permission to act, that builds a different kind of power inside you, the kind that doesn't wait for life to hand you something. You go and take it. You stop looking for signs and start becoming the sign. You stop seeking validation and start giving yourself the green light. And yes, you might make mistakes, but it's better to make a mistake while moving than to stay frozen and miss the moment entirely. You can learn from a mistake, you can course correct, but you can't grow if you're not in motion. That's what most people forget. They think avoiding mistakes will protect them, but it only protects the fear. And the longer you protect fear, the more it runs your life. So ask yourself right now, what have you been thinking about doing for weeks, months, maybe even years? What idea have you let die in your mind because you were waiting for the perfect moment? What decision have you delayed because you were scared of what could go wrong? Now ask yourself something even more powerful. What if it works? What if that idea changes everything? What if taking action today sets off a chain of wins you never imagined? You'll never know unless you move. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to stop letting doubt answer for you. You are stronger than your hesitation. You are smarter than your fear. And deep down, you know what needs to be done. You've known for a while. You're just waiting for some feeling to make it easy. But that feeling won't come. What will come is the strength you build after you decide, after you act, after you stop giving power to doubt and start giving power to your purpose. Every time you act fast, you gain a piece of yourself back. You start to trust your gut. You stop second-guessing your potential. You build a mind that works for you, not against you. That's you win. Not by being perfect, but by being quick to commit and bold enough to act before fear makes you freeze. That's what separates those who succeed from those who stay stuck. The winners move. The winners trust. The winners decide while the rest are still wondering. So this is your moment. The idea is there. The desire is alive. Don't wait for the fear to talk you out of it. Move. Do the thing you've been delaying. Make the call. Send the message. Start the process. Take the step. This is the decision that could change your life. But only if you act before doubt takes the wheel. It's your move. Make it now. Number 4, control your emotions before they control your actions. If you don't learn how to control your emotions, they will end up making choices you'll spend years regretting. The truth is, most people aren't failing because of their lack of effort. They're failing because of the emotional storms they never learned how to calm. They let anger speak for them. They let fear make their choices. They let sadness shape their day. And when emotions run the show, logic doesn't get a chance to speak. You got to decide what kind of life you want. One that reacts to every feeling that shows up, or one that stands strong and chooses action with clarity. There are moments in life when something pushes your buttons. You feel disrespected. You feel ignored. You feel betrayed. And instantly, that wave of emotion rises up in you. It tells you to lash out, to shut down, to run, to fight. And in that moment, you have 2 options. You can surrender to that reaction, or you can take a step back and take control. This is where winners are separated from the rest, not in talent, not in opportunity, but in how they handle what they feel. The ones who succeed are not cold or numb. They just don't let their emotions decide their future. The most dangerous thing you can do is believe that just because you feel something, you have to act on it. That's how you burn bridges. That's how you lose control. That's how you end up somewhere you never wanted to be, wondering how it all happened. You've got to take responsibility for your reactions. You can feel pain, but don't make decisions in pain. You can feel anger, but don't let anger send the message. You can feel fear, but don't let fear take the wheel. And let's be honest, most of us were never taught this. We were taught to stuff things down or let them explode. We were told to just calm down when we were overwhelmed, as if that solves anything. So we grow up thinking emotions are either a problem or a weakness, but they're not. Emotions are part of life. They're signals, not commands. They're here to give you information, not control you. The power comes when you learn how to sit with them, without letting them decide your next move. You want real power? Learn to pause. Learn to breathe. Learn to not reply right away when you're angry. Learn to not quit when you feel discouraged. Learn to not run when it gets uncomfortable. Emotions aren't permanent, but actions are. You've got to build enough awareness in yourself to feel the heat, rise, and still stay cool. That's strength. That's control. That's how leaders are built. And this is not about pretending you don't care or acting like nothing bothers you. It's about being aware enough to say, yes, this hurts, but I won't let it define me. It's about recognizing, I feel fear right now, but I still choose to move. That's the discipline. That's the mindset of someone who wins. They don't wait to feel better. They don't need the world to treat them a certain way to stay focused. They anchor themselves in purpose, not move. You've got to ask yourself, how many times have you said or done something in an emotional moment that you later had to apologize for? How many times did you walk away from something important just because you were frustrated? How many dreams died in you because you felt tired or unworthy one day and believed that feeling was truth? When you make permanent choices based on temporary emotions, you create unnecessary damage. But when you control your emotions, you give yourself the freedom to respond with wisdom, not reaction. Think about it. The world is chaotic enough. People are always going to say things that offend you. Life is always going to throw something unexpected your way. If your peace depends on everything going smoothly, then you're going to live on edge every single day. But if your peace comes from inside, if you build a habit of calming yourself before responding, then nothing outside of you can take your power away. And that's the goal, not to control the world, not to control other people, but to control yourself. Because the stronger you become emotionally, the less you get pushed around by life. You'll stop wasting energy reacting to everything. You'll start using that energy to build, to grow, to create. That's what separates the person who wins from the one who stays stuck. Not who feels more, but who masters what they feel. Some days will be harder than others. Some situations will feel unfair. Some people will test your patience. But your job isn't to control them. Your job is to stay rooted in who you are, not who the moment tries to make you. That means building habits that support emotional discipline. That means practicing the pause when you want to snap. That means asking yourself, what outcome do I want, before reacting? That means reminding yourself of your bigger goal. Because no temporary emotion is worth ruining your long-term success. This is the challenge most people avoid. They want success, but they don't want to face themselves. They want results, but they don't want to manage what's going on inside. But here's the truth. You can't lead anything outside of you until you lead yourself first. Control your emotions, and you start controlling your outcomes. Control your outcomes, and you start shaping your life. That's the formula. And it's not easy, but it's necessary. Start with small wins. The next time you feel triggered, don't react. Observe. Notice the urge to respond with emotion. Then stop. Breathe. Give it 5 minutes. Give it 10. Give yourself space to think clearly. That's not weakness. That's power. That's how you take back control from emotions that once ruled you. That's how you build emotional endurance. And over time, those small wins add up. You stop falling for every emotional trap. You stop reacting just because you feel something. And you start leading with clarity, with purpose, and with strength. So hear this, and let it stay with you. Your future depends on how you manage yourself today. Not just what you do, but how you think and how you feel. If you want to win, you've got to stop letting every emotion steer your choice. You've got to start asking yourself, what does the best version of me do right now? And do that, even if it's hard, even if it takes effort, because that's how greatness is built. You're not weak for feeling deeply, but you'll feel powerless if you keep letting those feelings decide your life. Stand up. Build emotional muscle. Refuse to give control of your future to temporary moods. Decide who you are. Train your mind. Build your inner strength. And take command of your life before your emotions try to take it from you. You've got more in you than any emotion that tries to take you down. It's time to take your power back and never hand it over again. Number 5, cut out the noise and think with intention. If you don't learn how to silence the noise around you, you'll spend your whole life chasing distractions instead of chasing purpose. Every day, your mind is under attack from opinions that aren't yours, from trends that don't matter, from voices trying to pull you away from what you truly want. The truth is, the world isn't designed to keep you focused. It's designed to keep you distracted. And if you're not intentional about what you allow into your mental space, you'll wake up one day with a life full of things that mean nothing to you. The problem isn't that you don't have time. It's that your time is buried under things that don't serve you. Most people are overwhelmed not because they're doing too much, but because they're doing too many things that don't align with who they want to become. You check your phone before you check in with yourself. You listen to opinions before you listen to your own voice. You scroll through highlights of other people's lives and wonder why yours feels so scattered. It's because you're absorbing everything without filtering anything. And what you consume mentally will shape the direction of your life. You can't think clearly if your mind is filled with clutter. You can't make decisions with depth if you're constantly reacting to noise. You can't build discipline when you're addicted to distraction. If you want a strong mind, you have to be willing to disconnect from what's draining you. That means turning down the volume of the world so you can finally hear what matters. That means protecting your mental space like it's sacred. Because it is. Everything changes when you stop letting noise control your focus. You stop wasting time proving yourself to people who don't understand your vision. You stop chasing validation from sources that don't add value. You stop trying to keep up with everyone and finally catch up with yourself. And when that happens, something powerful takes place. You start thinking with intention. You start choosing instead of reacting. You stop running in circles and start walking in the direction of purpose. Most people don't realize how much the noise costs them until it's too late. They spend years living on autopilot. They wake up to alarms they didn't set and follow routines they didn't choose. They say yes to things they don't care about and wonder why they feel so empty. That's the cost of a noisy life. It numbs you. It steals your clarity. It keeps you too distracted to notice that time is slipping by. But when you cut the noise, you reclaim your time, your focus, your energy. Start by asking yourself, who or what is taking up too much space in your mind? Whose opinions are living in your head, rent-free? What content are you feeding your brain every day? Are you scrolling to escape or scrolling to grow? Are you listening to people who challenge you to rise or people who convince you to settle? Be honest. Because your mental diet is just as important as your physical one. And if you keep feeding your mind junk, don't be surprised when your thoughts feel toxic. You don't need more advice. You need more silence to hear your own. You don't need everyone's input. You need your own permission. You don't need more noise. You need more space to breathe, reflect, and decide for yourself. Thinking with intention means you pause long enough to ask, is this helping me or hurting me? Is this thought leading me forward or holding me back? Is this belief mine or something I've just accepted? That kind of thinking is rare, but it's how you take back control of your life. And understand this. Focus isn't just about productivity. It's about alignment. It's about making sure your time and your values are in sync. It's about cutting out what's irrelevant so you can make room for what's meaningful. And that takes courage. Because sometimes cutting the noise means cutting people off. Sometimes it means walking away from what's familiar. Sometimes it means choosing to be misunderstood for a while. In order to finally understand yourself, you've got to be willing to get uncomfortable, to sit in silence, to not reach for your phone every time your mind feels restless, to not drown your thoughts in distraction. Let your thoughts rise. Let them surface. Let yourself feel what you've been avoiding. Because clarity is born in stillness, not in speed. And once you face your truth, once you hear your real voice beneath all the noise, you'll never settle for a loud, unfocused life again. You want power? Learn to filter what you allow into your attention. Learn to say no to things that look good but feel wrong. Learn to step away from people who confuse your vision. Learn to protect your mind from things that drain your drive. That's not being antisocial. That's being intentional. That's leadership. That's how you create space to grow into the person you were always meant to be. There's a voice inside you that knows what to do, that knows what you need, that knows where you're meant to go. But you've got to clear the path to here. You've got to turn down the world to turn up your inner wisdom. Don't let the noise of the crowd drown out the whisper of your purpose. Don't let temporary trends pull you off your long-term path. Don't let the fear of missing out keep you from showing up for yourself. Cut the noise, cut the drama, cut the distractions that are dressed up as entertainment. Cut the lies that tell you you're not ready. Cut the narratives that were never yours to carry. And when you do, think deeply. Think clearly. Think with purpose. Decide who you are. Decide what you value. Decide what's worth your energy and what's not. And once you get that clarity, protect it. Build a life around it. Shape your environment to support it. Stay consistent with it. Because a quiet mind is a powerful mind. And a powerful mind creates a powerful life. You don't need more motivation. You need more intention. You need to get clear, cut deep, and focus fully. That's how you move different. That's how you think different. That's how you win different. So here's your moment. Shut out the noise. Reclaim your mind. Decide with purpose. And move forward with a level of clarity the world can't shake. You're not here to live distracted. You're here to live directed. Now go build the life that reflects it. Number 6. Study what works and apply it without delay. You are not stuck because you lack intelligence or talent. You're stuck because you keep ignoring what already works. Success is not some mysterious force reserved for the chosen few. It's the result of patterns, behaviors, and strategies that have been tested, proven, and repeated by people who simply chose to act instead of overthink. The truth is, most of what you need to succeed is already out there. The problem is, you keep looking for shortcuts instead of applying what's already in front of you. Too many people drown in information, but starve for transformation. They read the books, they watch the videos, they take the courses, but when it comes time to apply, when it's time to move, they freeze, they hesitate, they wait for permission, they wait for perfect conditions. And while they wait, life moves on without them. You've got to wake up to this reality. Learning means nothing if you don't do something with it. You don't need another motivational quote. You need to take what you already know and put it into motion. You already know how to eat better, how to manage your time, how to improve your habits. But knowledge without execution is just wasted potential. It's comfort dressed up as progress. And the longer you wait to act, the harder it becomes to break the inertia that's keeping you small. You think the problem is lack of clarity, but often it's lack of courage. Deep down, you already know what needs to be done. You've heard it enough times. You've seen it modeled. You've watched people less talented than you do more, achieve more, become more. Because they didn't wait for certainty. They moved fast. They studied the best, took notes, applied what they learned, and adjusted on the go. That's how real progress is made. Stop pretending you're confused when you're really just scared to start. You're not lost. You're just resisting the discomfort that comes with action. But growth doesn't come from thinking about what might work. It comes from trying, failing, learning, and refining. That's how winners are made. They don't just consume. They implement. They don't hesitate. They execute. They study the blueprint, then build something real with it. Every day you delay action is a day you reinforce the habit of inaction. Every time you say, "I'll do it later," you train your brain to avoid challenge. And the more you delay, the more overwhelmed you become. The answer isn't more time, it's more urgency. It's taking what you've learned and turning it into something tangible before your doubts drown your momentum. You've got access to more wisdom than any generation in history. There are books filled with answers, interviews filled with insights, mentors who've already made the mistakes you're afraid of making. But none of that matters if you don't translate it into steps, into habits, into systems that you can live by. Knowing isn't power. Doing it. Think about the most successful people in the world. They're not always the smartest, but they are the most relentless. They observe, absorb, and apply fast. They don't waste time reinventing the wheel. They find what works and tailor it to their path. They learn from masters. They model excellence. And while others are still debating theories, they're stacking wins. If you want to change your life, the formula is simple. Study excellence, then act on it immediately. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to trust the process. Pick one thing that works and do it with intensity. Keep doing it until it becomes natural. Then study more, apply more, sharpen your tools, multiply your results. You will not rise by accident. You will rise by discipline, by consistent application, by being the kind of person who doesn't just get inspired, but gets up and moves. Most people spend their lives preparing to begin. Don't be that person. Be the one who begins before they feel ready, who acts while others hesitate, who builds momentum when others are still doubting. And yes, you will fail. You will get it wrong. That's not a weakness. That's the path. Because every mistake is data. Every setback is a signal. Every time you fall short, you gather feedback that makes your next move sharper. The ones who win long-term aren't the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who use it as fuel. You've got to learn to treat knowledge like fuel and action like the engine. Without action, your tank is full, but you're going nowhere. That's what so many people do. They consume and consume, but never drive. They think the answer lies in one more podcast, one more idea. But the breakthrough comes when you finally say, enough. I'm not reading another thing until I implement the last thing. That's when everything shifts. That's when results compound. That's when you go from wishing to building, from observing to becoming. Because when you start applying what works, the world starts responding to your movement. Opportunities appear. Doors open. People take notice. Not because you're lucky, but because you're finally in motion. You've been waiting long enough, studying long enough, planning long enough. It's time to move. Take what you know and build something with it. Take what's proven and use it like a weapon. Because when you apply what works with speed and intention, you don't just make progress. You separate yourself from everyone who's still stuck in theory. So stop holding back. Stop doubting your readiness. Start applying what you already understand. The tools are there. The path is clear. The only thing missing is your decision to begin. Use what you know. Move with urgency. And keep going until the results speak louder than your fears. Because that's what this journey is really about. Closing the gap between what you learn and how you live. The faster you do that, the faster you transform. Now take the knowledge you already have, Act like your life depends on it. And don't stop until you become undeniable. Number 7, build a plan and stick to it every day. If you wake up every day without a clear plan, don't be surprised when life pushes you around. Discipline isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters most. Every single day. No matter what. Most people drift through their lives reacting to whatever shows up. But you're not here to react. You're here to create. And creation demands intention. It demands structure. It demands that you decide who you're going to be. And then build a plan. So solid that even your bad days don't shake it. Your life is a reflection of your daily systems, not your random bursts of motivation. You can't build a legacy with scattered focus. You can't build confidence if every day starts with confusion. If you don't run your day will run you. The world doesn't care about your dreams if you don't protect them with action. You can't keep saying someday while doing nothing today. That's how years disappear. That's how potential dies quietly. Let me be direct with you. Winners don't rely on emotion. They rely on strategy. You don't need to feel inspired to follow through on a plan. You just need to honor your commitment to yourself. You need to stop waking up hoping things go right and start waking up with a schedule that makes things right. Because the moment you create a plan and follow it, you stop being at the mercy of distractions, moods, and excuses. The most powerful people you admire aren't superhuman. They're just consistent. They do what others won't. They follow through when it's inconvenient. They stick to the blueprint they wrote when they were clear, focused, and honest about their goals. You can't wing your way to greatness. You need a plan. And not just any plan, a plan you're willing to live by. A plan that demands more from you than your excuses are ready to give. You already know what you should be doing. You don't need another reminder. You need discipline. You need to stop making room for randomness and start scheduling your purpose. Get clear on your priorities. Write them down. Break them into daily targets and eliminate anything that pulls your energy away from them. If it's not aligned with the mission, it's a distraction. Period. The real reason people fail isn't lack of potential. It's lack of structure. They drift. They dabble. They delay. They talk big but act small. They jump from idea to idea. Always chasing a feeling, never building a foundation. That's not how greatness is built. Greatness is built in the repetition. It's built in the boring. It's built in showing up every day even when nobody's watching, and executing the plan you promised yourself you would follow. And let me tell you something most people avoid saying. It's supposed to be hard. Following a plan isn't glamorous. It's not exciting. But it's the only way to build momentum you can count on. It's how you turn chaos into clarity. It's how you make progress visible and measurable. Every check mark on that list, every task completed with discipline, it adds up. And eventually, those small wins become the life you once only dreamed about. If you want to feel proud of yourself, stop chasing motivation and start chasing execution. Build a plan that aligns with your values, your goals, and your potential. Make it simple. Make it real. Then honor it daily. No emotion, no drama, just action. That's how you build trust in yourself. That's how you create self-respect, by proving day by day that you are someone who finishes what they start. People think confidence is a feeling, but it's not. Confidence is evidence. It's what happens when your actions match your ambitions, when your behavior lines up with your intention. And the fastest way to create that alignment is through a daily plan that you stick to like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. You want to win? Then decide today what your day is going to look like. Don't leave it to chance. Don't wait until you're overwhelmed. Wake up with clarity. Know your non-negotiables. Know what matters most. Block off time for it. And then protect that time like it's sacred. Because it is. Because that's the time that will build your future. That's the time that separates you from average. And stop adjusting your goals to match your laziness. Adjust your effort to match your goals. Your plan is not supposed to feel comfortable. It's supposed to stretch you. It's supposed to remind you that your future self is worth fighting for. So stop changing plans every week. Stop chasing what's trendy. Build a system that works for you and stick with it long enough to see results. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be committed. You need to show up when it's hard. Push through when you're tired. Follow through when it's boring. Because that's the moment that builds something inside you. That's when your identity shifts from someone who talks about growth to someone who lives it, from someone who hopes to someone who executes. This is your moment to stop floating and start building. Build a schedule around your highest values. Structure your days with intention. Make space for progress. Block distractions. Create habits that feed your ambition, and then stick to it. Day after day after day. That's how you create a life worth being proud of. Not by waiting, not by wishing, but by designing your days with purpose and following through with conviction. So here's the challenge. Before the day ends, write your plan for tomorrow. Don't go to bed until it's done. Choose your top priorities. Set time limits. Build your focus into your schedule. Then wake up and attack it. Don't leave space for overthinking. Don't negotiate with laziness. Just do what you said you'd do. And when tomorrow comes, repeat. Stick to the plan and your life will change. Stick to the plan and you will feel unstoppable. Stick to the plan and you will finally see what you're truly capable of becoming. Don't wait for life to organize itself around your goals. Be the architect. Build the structure. Set the rules. Stick to them. That's how transformation begins. That's how success is earned. And that's how you take control of your future. One day, one plan, one action at a time. Number 8. Reject weak thinking and aim for real results. You will never live the life you want if you keep thinking like the person you're trying to leave behind. Weak thoughts don't lead to strong outcomes. You can't expect real results while holding on to small thinking, easy excuses, and fragile beliefs that protect your comfort but destroy your potential. The life you want will never come from playing it safe in your mind. It demands boldness, clarity, and an obsession with truth over comfort. Most people are trapped, not by their circumstances, but by the lies they keep telling themselves. Lies like, it's too late, I'm not ready, or I've tried before and failed. But you don't need more chances. You need a mindset that doesn't run when things get hard. Every time you shrink from challenge, every time you surrender to a limiting thought, you reinforce the chains that hold you back. You aren't stuck because of the world. You're stuck because your thinking hasn't grown. Look around you. The gap between average and elite is mental. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's how people think when things don't go their way. Strong thinkers don't get lost in self-pity. They don't focus on blame. They focus on what they can control. They challenge their own doubts. And they move with purpose, even when nothing makes sense. Because deep down, they've made a decision. Results matter more than feelings. Weak thinking always finds a way to delay action. It finds comfort in waiting. It whispers tomorrow and kills your momentum today. But if you're tired of starting over, you need to stop giving yourself permission to retreat. You need to train your mind to question every excuse, every hesitation, and every soft lie that sneaks in when life gets inconvenient. This is about mental hygiene. Cleaning out the toxic thoughts that convince you mediocrity is safer than effort. If you want real results, you need to think like someone who refuses to settle. You can't negotiate with your goal. You can't keep revisiting the same old habits that have never served you. Ask yourself, what does weak thinking cost you? How many opportunities have you ignored? How many goals have you abandoned? How many times have you known exactly what to do, but let fear rewrite your decision? That cycle ends the moment you decide you're done living in mental poverty. Real growth begins the day you stop defending your limitations. Weak thoughts will have you believing you need more time, more motivation, more certainty. But strong thinking knows the truth. You already have what you need. You just haven't been thinking clearly. Your mind is your first battlefield. If you lose there, you lose everywhere else. So you need to challenge your beliefs with the same intensity. You chase your goal. You must become your own mental warrior. Someone who guards their thinking like their future depends on it. Because it does. The people who change their lives aren't the ones with perfect plans. They're the ones who stop letting fear disguise itself as logic. Weak thoughts sound smart. Be realistic. Don't get your hopes up. Maybe now's not the right time. But that voice isn't here to protect you. It's here to limit you. And every time you give in, you lose a piece of yourself. Every time you allow a weak thought to guide your actions, you delay the results that could have been yours. To win in life, you need to do mental work every single day. This isn't just about strategy. It's about sharpening your inner dialogue. It's about creating thoughts that make you braver, more focused, and emotionally unshakable. Thoughts that pull you forward when things fall apart. Thoughts that remind you who you said you were going to be before the day tested your willpower. You have to rewire your default reactions. You have to teach yourself to move forward when everything in you wants to wait. You can't build a strong life with a weak inner voice. If your inner world is chaotic, your outer life will reflect it. So step one is to stop entertaining anything in your mind that doesn't move you towards strength. Doubt doesn't deserve your attention. Overthinking doesn't deserve your energy. Excuses don't deserve your time. Kill them before they kill your momentum. Every powerful person you admire has fought this battle. They've stood at the edge of doubt, fear, and mental fatigue, and moved anyway. Not because they were fearless, but because they trained their minds to value outcomes over emotion. You don't need to eliminate fear to act. You just need to stop letting fear dictate your pace. And that's what strong thinking does. It puts your goals back in the driver's seat. You've got dreams, but do you have the thinking that can hold the weight of those dreams? Do you have the mindset that refuses to fold under pressure? Because dreaming is easy. Everybody does it. But not everyone has the guts to think with clarity when life pushes back. Not everyone is willing to break their own patterns and rebuild their beliefs from scratch. That takes courage, that takes pain, but it also brings power. It's time to stop measuring your days by how you feel. Start measuring them by what you produced, by what you followed through on, by how many weak thoughts you confronted and replaced. The quality of your life is a direct reflection of the quality of your thinking. Upgrade your thoughts, and everything changes: your habits, your relationships, your income, your direction. But it all starts inside. From now on, when doubt creeps in, don't argue with it, replace it. When fear speaks, don't listen, override it. When your brain looks for an easy out, redirect it to your commitment. You are not your excuses. You are not your worst thoughts. You are the decision you make in the moment that matters most. Reject the thoughts that have kept you stuck. Say no to the thinking that feeds your hesitation, and say yes to the kind of thinking that leads to results, real, measurable, life-altering results. You have one job: train your mind until it becomes your strongest ally, until your thoughts match your ambition, until your default mode is forward, not pause. That's how you rise. That's how you take back control. That's how you finally start to live as the person you were meant to become. If this message stirred something inside you, don't let that feeling fade. Act on it. Question every thought that feels familiar but weak. Push against the voice that tells you to play small. And tomorrow, don't just think stronger. Think so clearly, so intentionally, that your results have no choice but to match your power. This is your time. Don't think like a victim. Think like a builder. Think like a leader. Think like someone who's done waiting and ready to win. Number 9. Push your brain to solve harder, real problems. If you want to grow beyond what you are today, your brain must learn to thrive in discomfort. The real breakthroughs don't happen by solving the easy problems. Those anyone can fix with a little effort. The true game changers come when you push your mind to tackle the challenges that scare you, that feel overwhelming, that demand more than you think you have. When you solve the hard problems, you unlock a version of yourself that is stronger, smarter, and more resilient than ever before. Every success story has a hidden moment where the person refused to quit, refused to settle for simple answers, and instead leaned into complexity. They stared down problems that seemed impossible, messy, and risky. They stopped looking for shortcuts and started facing their obstacles head on, because they understood something most people never do. Your brain grows by wrestling with hard problems, not by coasting through easy wins. You might feel stuck because your mind has never been truly challenged. Maybe you've spent too long avoiding difficulty, settling for what feels safe. But this safety is a prison disguised as comfort. The easy stuff never pushes you forward. It only keeps you where you are, spinning in the same loops, repeating the same mistakes, and feeling the same frustration. If you want something different, you must feed your brain with problems worthy of your energy and your courage. Here's the thing. Solving harder problems rewires your mind. It forces your brain to build new neural pathways, to think in new ways, and to become more creative. Each difficult problem is an opportunity to upgrade your mental software. You develop sharper focus, better decision-making skills, and emotional toughness. When you face complexity regularly, you stop fearing the unknown because you've practiced mastering it. That mental strength spills into every part of your life. But pushing your brain doesn't mean working harder in the same ways. It means seeking out the problems that truly test you, that demand you stretch beyond your current limit. It means stepping into situations where failure is a real possibility. But so is transformation. The kind of growth that only comes from effort, that challenges your mind's comfort zone. Every hard problem is a stepping stone to a more capable version of you. It's tempting to look for quick fixes, or to avoid the problems that keep you awake at night. The mind naturally prefers the path of least resistance. But that path leads to mediocrity, to regret, to a life half-lived. The people who rise above have learned to embrace complexity, not run from it. They have learned to see problems as invitations, not obstacles. They've mastered the art of breaking down what seems impossible into pieces they can manage. And then they act relentlessly. When your brain engages with tough challenges, something extraordinary happens. You gain confidence that no pep talk or motivational speech can give you. Confidence born from knowing you've been in the trenches. You've faced the chaos, and you've come out stronger. This confidence breeds courage. The courage to take bigger risks, to step outside your comfort zone repeatedly, and to pursue your dreams with unstoppable force. Imagine what would happen if you decided today to stop shrinking from the hard question. What if instead of avoiding discomfort, you leaned into it? What if you welcome problems that stretch your limits because you know that's where real progress lives? The power to change your life, to rewrite your story, lies in that decision. But it's not enough to want it. You must act. You must give your mind the workouts it craves. Your brain is like a muscle. It grows through resistance. If you only lift the light weights, your strength will plateau. If you always settle for simple problems, your mind's power will stagnate. The only way to unlock your full potential is to challenge yourself daily with problems that demand creativity, persistence, and grit. You must create a habit of mental resistance, not avoidance. But let's be honest. Hard problems feel overwhelming because they often don't have clear answers. That uncertainty can trigger fear, frustration, and doubt. You may feel tempted to quit, to convince yourself you're not smart enough or capable enough. That voice is lying. Your brain is made to solve problems, but only if you trust it enough to try, fail, learn, and try again. The more you practice, the more it learns to navigate uncertainty instead of fearing it. There's a secret most people don't realize. Every problem, no matter how difficult, has a solution. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it takes failure. And sometimes it takes the courage to ask for help. But every solution starts with one step: the willingness to engage with the problem rather than turn away. When you decide to push your brain into hard work, you are choosing growth over comfort, mastery over excuses, and power over paralysis. Your brain will test you. You'll feel mental fatigue. You'll want to give up. But those moments are proof you're on the right path. Those moments are your transformation zones. Don't back down when it gets hard. Keep pushing. Keep wrestling with the unknown until clarity emerges. That clarity is your reward. The breakthrough you need to move forward stronger than before. When you commit to solving harder problems, you become a problem magnet. Doors open, opportunities appear, and people begin to see you as someone who can handle pressure and deliver results. Your brain, once trained to solve simple puzzles, now functions like a finely tuned machine, able to analyze complex situations and create innovative solutions. This mindset is what separates leaders from followers, winners from spectators. You owe it to yourself to feed your mind with challenges that ignite curiosity and demand persistence. Stop settling for mental comfort zones disguised as success. Real achievement requires you to sharpen your mental edge every day. Pursue problems that push your limits, and watch as your confidence, creativity, and resilience explode beyond what you imagined possible. The path ahead will not be easy. No worthwhile journey ever is. But the difference between where you are and where you want to be is the difference between the problems you tackle today and the problems you avoid. Commit to tackling the hard problems, and you commit to transforming your life. Now is the moment to stop playing small and start embracing mental challenges with hunger and determination. Step into the arena of complex problems, knowing that each struggle is building a stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable you. Make it your mission to push your brain beyond its limits, and watch how every area of your life changes as a result. If you're ready to grow beyond what you thought possible, start today by identifying one problem you've been avoiding because it feels too hard. Break it down, attack it piece by piece, and refuse to quit until you find a way forward. Your future self will thank you. This is how winners are made, through the power of pushing harder, thinking deeper, and solving the problems most people fear. Don't wait for motivation or the perfect conditions. The only way forward is through challenge. Train your brain to seek the hard questions and never settle for easy answers again. This is your invitation to rise, to grow, and to transform your mind into the powerhouse it was always meant to be. The time is now. Embrace the struggle. Solve the hard problems. Become unstoppable. Number 10, speak to yourself like someone you deeply respect. The way you speak to yourself is the single most powerful conversation you will ever have. Imagine if every word in your inner dialogue came from a place of deep respect, kindness, and unwavering belief. How different would your life look then? Right now, if you listen closely, you might hear a harsh critic inside your mind. A voice that tears you down instead of lifting you up. That voice is not your truth. It's a habit you can change. Speaking to yourself like someone you deeply respect is the key to unlocking a life filled with confidence, purpose, and unstoppable momentum. Many of us carry wounds not from others, but from our own thoughts. The internal voice that should be your greatest ally often becomes your worst enemy. It dismisses your dreams, questions your worth, and magnifies every mistake. But here's the hard truth. If you keep treating yourself like an enemy, you'll never become the champion of your own life. The only way forward is to rewrite this inner dialogue into something powerful, supportive, and deeply respectful. Think about the people you admire most. Whether it's a mentor, a close friend, or even a figure you look up to from afar. They don't just offer empty compliments. They speak with honesty wrapped in respect. They see your potential clearly and push you to be your best, without breaking you down. Now imagine being that person for yourself. What if you could give yourself the same compassion, the same respect, the same firm yet gentle encouragement? This is not about sugarcoating your flaws. It's about honoring your humanity while demanding growth. The way you talk to yourself shapes how you feel, the decisions you make, and the energy you bring to every moment. When your inner voice is harsh, it sows doubt and fear. It convinces you to settle, to hide, to silence your true ambition. But when you speak kindly yet firmly, you become your own source of strength. You build resilience from within, no longer dependent on others to validate your worth. This shift changes everything. Changing your self-talk isn't about ignoring your flaws or pretending everything is perfect. It's about acknowledging your struggles without shame and responding with encouragement instead of condemnation. When you mess up, instead of saying, "I'm a failure," try saying, "I'm learning, and I will do better next time." When fear creeps in, replace "I can't do this" with "This is hard, but I'm capable." These small shifts create new neural pathways in your brain that reprogram your mind for growth and confidence. Let me tell you a story. A person I know faced overwhelming challenges, failures at work, strained relationships, and constant self-doubt. Their inner voice was brutal, tearing them apart every day. One day they decided to change the conversation. They began speaking to themselves as if they were their own best friend, the person who would never give up on them. It wasn't instant, and it wasn't easy, but slowly their mindset transformed. They stopped sabotaging their progress and started fueling. The respect they cultivated inside became the foundation for every success that followed. This practice is not just emotional fluff, it's neuroscience. Studies show that positive self-talk lowers stress, improves focus, and even enhances physical performance. When you speak with respect to yourself, Your brain releases chemicals that make you feel empowered and motivated. You literally rewire your brain for success. The internal critic, once loud and destructive, quiets down as the voice of respect grows stronger and more consistent. Ask yourself right now, how do I speak to myself when no one else is listening? Is that voice lifting me up or tearing me down? If it's the latter, it's time for change. It starts with awareness, catching the negative thoughts before they spiral, and then choosing a new way to respond. This is a skill, and like any skill, it requires practice and patience. But the payoff is immense. You don't need to wait for someone else to respect you or believe in you first. The most powerful respect begins inside. When you treat yourself with honor and dignity, you build a foundation no one can shake. You gain clarity on your values and boundaries. You begin to demand more from life because you know you deserve more. The respect you give yourself becomes a magnet for respect from others. Every morning, take a moment to speak to yourself with reverence. Remind yourself of your strengths and your worth. When challenges arise, speak words of encouragement and patience. When you stumble, respond with understanding rather than judgment. This daily habit rewires your brain and shapes your reality. You start to carry yourself differently, calmer, stronger, more certain. Others notice. Opportunities come easier. Life feels fuller. There will be days when your inner critic tries to regain control. When old doubts flood back. That's when your commitment to respectful self-talk is tested. Stand firm. Remember, this is a lifelong practice, not a one-time fix. Each time you choose respect over criticism, you win a battle inside yourself. Over time, those wins stack into a fortress of self-belief no external force can break. Speaking to yourself like someone you deeply respect is also about setting high standards with kindness. It means refusing to accept excuses, but also refusing to punish yourself. It means holding yourself accountable without hatred. This balance creates an internal environment where growth flourishes. You become a leader in your own life, guiding yourself with wisdom rather than fear. The people who accomplish extraordinary things are not immune to doubt or fear. What sets them apart is the way they talk to themselves. They speak with clarity and respect. They don't allow self-doubt to dictate their action. Instead, they use their inner dialogue as a tool to sharpen focus, boost motivation, and build unshakable confidence. This is the mindset that transforms potential into reality. Now, I want you to commit to this. Starting today, speak to yourself as you would speak to someone you admire deeply. Use words that build, not break. Use language that honors your journey and your effort. When you catch yourself slipping into negativity, pause and redirect. This simple but profound change will ripple through every part of your life. Relationships, work, health, and happiness. You have the power to change your story by changing your self-talk. Don't underestimate the force of words spoken quietly in your mind every day. This is your inner foundation. Build it strong, build it kind, and build it unbreakable. The person you respect the most is waiting inside you. Speak to yourself like that person, and watch how your world transforms. The moment to start is now. Embrace the power of respectful self-talk. Fuel your mind with words that inspire courage, confidence, and compassion. Your future self depends on it. Step into that conversation with intention and watch your life unfold in ways you never thought possible. You deserve that respect, and it begins with you.